You're not supposed to know this, but there's a psychological trick that makes people crave your attention, obsess over your presence, even when you do absolutely nothing. It's not about being rich. It's not about being the most attractive person in the room. It's something far more primal. It's about your energy. You see, energy is not just a buzzword. In the world of human interaction, it's everything. It's the silent weapon used by some of the most powerful and magnetic individuals on the planet. And here's the unsettling truth. Most people who use this trick don't even realize they're doing it. But you will, by the end of this video. Think about the people you remember most. It's not always what they said, it's how they made you feel. Something about their energy stayed with you, like a fingerprint on your mind. That's what we're unlocking today. In psychology, energy is not just a vague concept. It's your emotional fingerprint. It's the invisible signal you send out the moment you enter a space. Before you speak, before you smile, before you even make eye contact, people already feel you. It lives in your posture, in your breathing, in how you carry silence. Most people think communication is about words. It's not. It's about presence. When you walk into a room, your energy either creates gravity or static. People instinctively move toward you or away. It happens in seconds. And it's not logical. It's biological. This response is driven by mirror neurons, which copy and reflect the emotional states of others. If you're calm, others become calm. If you're tense, others brace themselves. That's why certain people captivate without speaking. They radiate authority. They don't force connection, they draw it in. They understand the unspoken law. Control your energy, and you control the room. Here's where the trick gets disturbingly effective, because it's subtle. It's called controlled unavailability. It's not about ghosting people or playing hard to get. It's about being strategically scarce, emotionally present but selectively responsive. You give just enough to spark interest, but never enough to satisfy it. You're warm but unpredictable, engaged but not exposed. This creates what psychologists call emotional tension, a subtle discomfort that demands resolution. Humans are addicted to resolution. When someone can't figure you out, their brain starts looping, "What did I miss? Did I do something wrong? Why hasn't he replied yet?" That uncertainty fuels mental obsession. You become the cliffhanger at the end of a thriller, impossible to ignore. The brain starts replaying your words, analyzing your body language, obsessing over the silence. And here's the twisted part. The less you do, the more they think. That's the secret. Controlled unavailability doesn't push people away. It pulls them deeper in. Now let's add a darker, more powerful layer: reverse social engineering. This is where control quietly shifts from you to them, and they don't even realize it. Most people move through the world trying to gain approval. They laugh a little too loudly, agree too quickly, and explain themselves too often. But those who truly captivate others flip that script. Instead of trying to be liked, they create an environment where others seek their approval. They become the one who is evaluated, not the one doing the chasing. You do this by being intentional with your energy. Respond rarely, and when you do, keep it brief but sharp. Don't overshare or emotionally overinvest. Let curiosity build. Most importantly, stay unreactive. If someone tries to test you, you stay cool, maybe even amused. This subtle control rewires the dynamic. You no longer need to win people over. Instead, you let them feel the weight of your silence, the challenge of your mystery, and they start chasing you. Now let's dive into one of the most potent and unsettling techniques in human psychology: the push-pull effect. This is the emotional roller coaster that makes people addicted to your presence. It works because it leverages unpredictability, a psychological drug more powerful than consistency. Here's how it plays out. First, you push. You offer warmth, attention, maybe a compliment or a vulnerable moment. You make the person feel seen, special, safe. Then, when they least expect it, you pull. By going quiet, becoming emotionally neutral, or backing off slightly. That sudden emotional shift creates turbulence in their brain. Their mind scrambles for answers, wondering, what changed? Did I do something wrong? It's in this uncertainty that obsession is born. Psychologically, it's the same mechanism used by casinos: intermittent reinforcement. The reward is not guaranteed, so the brain keeps pulling the lever, hoping for another hit of connection. That's why toxic relationships feel magnetic. The emotional inconsistency hooks people. Used with awareness, push-pull creates fascination. Used recklessly, it becomes emotional manipulation. So how do you create the kind of energy that makes people remember you long after you're gone? Without saying much and without begging for attention? It starts with presence. Not just physical presence, but emotional sovereignty. The ability to stand in a room and be completely comfortable in your own skin. The way you walk, the way you sit, the way you breathe, all of it sends a message. People unconsciously register your confidence through your posture, stillness. When you move slowly, when you speak deliberately, it signals authority. In nature, predators move with calm. Prey are the ones who rush. Speak less. Let your silence speak louder. When you say something, pause. Let it land. Don't rush to fill the silence. Own it. Silence makes most people uncomfortable, but if you can hold it, you gain control over the room. Combine this with strategic eye contact. Not a stare down, but a slow, lingering gaze that makes people wonder what you're thinking. That tension is addictive. Then, add unpredictability. Don't always respond the same way. Be consistent in your values, but never in your availability. When people can't predict how you'll react, they pay more attention. They analyze. They chase clarity. That chase becomes obsession. This kind of energy is not about arrogance, it's about restraint. It's about having so much inner control that others feel compelled to figure you out, and the more they try, the deeper they fall into your orbit. Here's the part that rarely gets talked about, the dark side of this energy trick. While it's powerful, it is not without risk. Obsession might sound flattering, even empowering, but in reality it can create emotional dependency, confusion, and pain, especially when the person on the receiving end is vulnerable or insecure. When someone becomes addicted to your presence, they may begin to question their own worth. They might misinterpret your silence as rejection. Your unpredictability might trigger their anxiety. What feels like harmless control to you might feel like emotional chaos to them. That's why this kind of energy should be handled with awareness and intent. Use it not to manipulate, but to protect, to define your space, to stop people from taking you for granted. When you understand your own energy, you stop leaking it to anyone who asks. You move from chasing attention to commanding it. Just remember, power without conscience becomes toxicity. Master your energy, yes, but never lose your humanity in the process. This is not some internet trick. It's rooted in behavioral science. One of the clearest demonstrations of power through emotional distance came from the Stanford prison experiment in 1971. Participants, randomly assigned as guards, quickly adopted dominant, even cruel roles over the prisoners, not because of who they were, but because of how distance and perceived authority changed their energy. The message? When people feel you're emotionally out of reach, they assume you hold power. Now combine that with the concept of intermittent reinforcement discovered in behavioral psychology. When a reward, like attention or affection, is unpredictable, it becomes far more addictive than when it's consistent. That's why people get hooked on slot machines or toxic partners. In human dynamics, the formula is the same. If your attention comes and goes unpredictably, people start chasing it like a drug. Your silence becomes a mystery. Your presence becomes a prize. And the more they can't predict you, the deeper the obsession grows. Now you know the truth. Obsession is not created through effort. It's triggered by controlled energy. When you master emotional restraint, use unpredictability wisely, and reverse the chase, people don't just like you, they crave your presence. It's not about being loud or flashy, it's about being felt, even in silence. Remember this, you don't need to chase attention when your energy demands it. Let others speak more. Let others explain themselves. You, move with quiet certainty, and let the world lean in. If this video shifted your mindset, comment below. I choose presence over approval. And don't forget to subscribe. because the next video will show you how to turn this energy into lasting influence. Until then, stay scarce, stay sharp, and most of all, stay in control.